Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz City Podcast for Season 2, Episode 2 of FBS Fridays, like we do every Friday during the football season. We got a lot to talk about, man. We got to break down the games that have already happened. We got to break down the best matchups, and there are a lot of good matchups for Week 1 coming. All right, we got to talk about the performance of Travis Hunter, obviously. Can't not talk about that in the Colorado game. Y'all know that's coming. And we're going to rank some quarterbacks. We're going to do all that tonight and answer some questions if you got some. So, first, guys, Clay is going to run a little late. Kelly already informed me he was going to be a little late as well, so they will come on later. So, starting off the show is me and, of course, Blue of the Blue Bloods podcast. Blue, you ready, bro?
Man, ready to talk about it, man. I'm excited. I missed, I think, all the 15 minutes of the show last week, man. So I had to make sure I was on time this week.
Nah, it's all good. You already know, man. Life on life. All right. So first, let's recap. Georgia Tech, Florida State. Now, nobody is really surprised that Georgia Tech was able to pull this out. Some people felt like they would. Some people knew this wasn't going to be a gimme from Florida State. The problem, is the thing that needs to be talked about is DJ in his outing, because we had high expectations for him throughout the season. We felt like, okay, he kind of redeemed himself at Oregon State. Can he do the same at Florida State and make them a college football playoff contender? It looks like that ain't gonna happen after this performance, after this Week 0 performance. I was very underwhelmed. Twitter was going off on him, saying he can't throw more than 5 yards, or he doesn't want to throw more than 5 yards. To you, after seeing this game, how do you view DJ Uyunglele? Like, even if I'm a GM, right? Because baseball really isn't an option. You got taken with the last round of the draft.
Yeah.
If I'm a GM, can I even view you as like a project anymore? Like, I'm just not feeling it. Like, from what you gave me at Oregon State to now, I just feel like we kind of know what we got with him right now. How do you feel?
Yeah. Our experience transfer to not be trusted in the biggest moments is crazy. Like, you bring in the 6-year guy who has all these stars, all this experience in the conference that Florida State's in a big conference game to open the year, and you don't let them push the football down the field, and that's with your running game struggling because they couldn't run the football either. I think Roydell Williams led them with under 40 yards rushing, and
Right.
DJ dumped down King. I mean, in this one, just check down underneath. I think he was averaging less than a yard per attempt at one point, maybe
Crazy.
negative at halftime. Under 200 yards passing, no touchdowns. I didn't turn the football over, but he never put it in danger, really. So I was really shocked at his performance. I think the thing I was more shocked about is how good Haynes looked as a playmaker. I don't think he had a spectacular passing day, Kobe, like where he just was, throwing the ball around the yard, but he consistently made good, I would say, reads in the passing game. But his legs were the difference in this one,
It
where
was.
every time things broke down, he would go make a play. And then also, too, anytime they called a design QB run or design QB play, he would always make the right play. And Jamal Haynes has every making of a superstar as well. And this all happened without their freshman All-American Eric Singleton really doing too much in this game. So I think you got to feel really good if you're Georgia. DJ, terrible performance. You got to kind of look at what's Florida State's ceiling if Mike Norvell doesn't trust them to throw the football.
If I'm looking at DJ just for his career, I feel like if he doesn't turn this around, the draft stock is going to take an even bigger hit, right? Because I mean, if you're a 6-year quarterback and you get benched because they already can't trust you, if you get benched at any point, or if it's obvious that they don't trust you at any point this season, bro, you might gotta somebody's gonna take him. Somebody's going to take him, and somebody's going to try to work with him, but I don't think he'll be in the league long. And you might have to put that degree to use, man. And the fall off is kind of crazy because you remember, right, him battling Bryce out at St. John's Bosco and Mater Dei for 2 or 3 consecutive state championships. That you just knew that both of these guys were going to be great. And now Bryce is transcended into this amazing talent, and here you are still struggling in college. So it's where did that drop off even happen? I feel like what was the cause of it?
You can't really blame. I don't know, maybe coaching a little bit because was that the time where he came in was when Clemson lost their OC?
That was the COVID year, right? When he came in.
I think so because the quarterback coach that ended up the OC that ended up leaving was the one that developed like Trevor and all.
Right.
So maybe it's that, but I just don't. I mean, sometimes you just got bust, man. I just don't think he ever put it together. I don't think he has confidence in himself either. He really lacks that like killer instinct that you would want to see in an elite quarterback. Man, you can't open the season losing to Georgia Tech. And no offense to Georgia Tech, but man, I mean, this was the team that was supposed to compete for the college football playoff.
Exactly.
And now they're sitting here after week 0, 0-1, and they got a few games on that schedule that I mean, maybe they were toss-ups coming into the year, but now you're looking at them like, okay, well, I mean, Clemson, you're not confident there. At Miami, probably not confident there. We'll see about North Carolina. Max Johnson had a really bad injury last night. If they're without Max Johnson, that team's probably not as good as they could be. But then you got at Notre Dame and you got Florida in the final week of the season. All those games could be losses, and God forbid if SMU or Cal catch you in that stretch, you have elite athletes at really key positions. So we'll see. But man, Mike Norvell might have some questions to answer at the end of the season, depending on how this year ends up.
Thanks, right. And now we're gonna move on, but I will say this: if that Clemson game comes and he doesn't, because there should be you don't need motivation for that game. So if that Clemson game comes and you don't perform, like if you give us a bad performance, I kind of know where it's going with you at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that
Yeah.
should be the game at least. But moving on. Colorado, right? Let's talk about it because the whole internet has already done it. All right, 31-26. For a minute, it looked like they were gonna lose to North Dakota State. Now, if you remember during the offseason, um, anybody who follows me on Twitter, I went viral because like they started talking about North Dakota State, and I was like, y'all better hope y'all don't find out what that team is about because people who watch FCS football, or know a little bit about FCS football, know this is not a walk in the park for y'all. So yeah, they won. It's just the fashion that they won in that kind of has me like, what are you guys celebrating for? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the hype has become a little too big for this fashion of a win. If you want to celebrate Travis's performance, cool. If you want to celebrate Jimmy Horn's performance, or even Shadur's, great. But overall, as a team, you shouldn't. It seems like they're a little too content with this. Like they're a little too happy about this close win over North Dakota State. Me personally, my thoughts on the game, Travis. We're gonna talk a little bit more about him just in a minute. But he, as usual, is a great player. Jimmy Horn, didn't know that kid had as much speed as he did. Shadur looks great. What were your thoughts on the game, though?
I mean, I'm not really surprised. I just think it is funny though how in like the Colorado space you saw a bunch of people go from, oh, this game shouldn't be close and we're college football playoff contenders, to now a win's a win. And North Dakota State's this giant that everyone already respected, when all off season all they did was talk like they weren't worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on a Colorado show earlier this week, and they were all saying like, oh, it's not going to be close. You have people in the chat, Colorado by 60 and 2-3 scores, and that just isn't what happened. And on that last drive, if North Dakota State doesn't, it just don't miss like 2 or 3 blatant penalties, this game is so much different than
Mm-hmm.
it is. And I mean, it just, listen, the D on those jerseys, I know what it stands for, but it should be doubtful for the future of this program, because this team is not improved in any aspect. I mean, really and truly, and I think Shadur is good. If you take Travis Hunter off that team,
Oh,
they might lose this game by 3 scores.
I'm with you on that. I'm actually with you on that. Yes, I agree.
Like, let's put a positive on this. Travis Hunter is the best player in college football, and it should be unanimous. It really should be. I mean, as a wide receiver, it doesn't matter where you put him, but like, he is arguably the best wide receiver I think I've watched maybe ever. He's that good.
Right.
And I mean, listen, the kid is just that what was it, the last touchdown catch? The
Oh my
one,
God,
like, it
how
was
he
thrown a little bit behind him and just with the guy draped over him. I don't know. Listen, I took AP Physics in high school. I still don't know how we caught that. Physically, that shouldn't be possible. I
No, like
really
the way
don't know.
he adjusted to catch it. How do you do that?
Yes.
How do you
And,
do that?
and as much as I'm not a huge fan of Colorado, I got to agree with what Prom said after the game, where he was like, "There's 50-50 ball with Travis Hunter.
True.
If he gets his hands on it, it's 12's ball."
And you know what's crazy? I thought the best catch he ever made in his career wasn't even in college up until this point. I thought it was in high school, where they played, what's that school? Bishop Gorman, right?
Yep.
On national TV, and he just like went up to a second level in the air and just like snagged that thing down. I thought that was the best catch that kid ever made. But this got to take the cake, man. I just don't understand how you do something like that. Hold on, we got our guy Clay. What's good, my boy?
What's up, baby? Just a little bit of a later night at the store than I wanted it to be.
No, you good. You good. You right on time, actually, because we're talking about Colorado, right? And specifically Travis Hunter. So I want to ask this question while everybody's here, and then Jermaine will answer your question because I know you're waiting. The topic has come up again with Travis. All right, and the question is, should he focus on one position? Even C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right? He came out on Twitter against RG3 and said, "Hey, bro, nobody's playing multiple positions." You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's playing multiple positions in the league. That's not going to happen. He's going to have to pick a side. He's going to have to pick a side to play. In y'all's opinion, is that true? Is he going to have to pick a different side to play? Should he stick to wide receiver? We all know he's a better wide receiver than he is corner, but he still is a really good corner. And I think because he's so great at receiver, people seem to miss that. So do y'all think he should stick to one side going to the next level? Should he just focus, or should he try to play both sides at the next level?
At the next level, because I think it's different, because I don't think he should focus on one position, because he's elite at play both positions and still be elite when he gets to the NFL, regardless if he focuses on one position or not. So in college, keep doing what you're doing. But in the NFL, you're obviously not going to be able to play both sides of the ball. Like, let's just be honest, guys. The snap counts that he's playing is not sustainable for 10 years.
127 out of 131 snaps. Crazy.
Especially at the NFL, where let's say Travis goes to a good team. Now, obviously, he's probably going top 2 or 3, should go 1. So he's going to probably a very bad team. Mm-hmm. But let's not forget, these guys play 17 regular season games now. And then, God forbid, you get to the playoffs and have to play somewhere close to 20 games. At the NFL level, there is no way he plays both ways at the NFL consistently. Now, are there going to be packages where maybe you play him on both sides? Yeah, I could see that. But in terms of every single snap on both sides of the ball, there's no chance, man. No chance. And I think he should go to wide receiver for sure.
The question with me is saying like he should just stick to one position for like this season.
No,
it's kind of crazy to me because, number one, I mean, even as great as he is as a receiver, he's their best corner. So who do you put in his place if you move him to receiver?
Like this year?
Yeah, like, because I know, like,
no chance.
Yeah,
no, you can't play him one way in college. That's what I was saying. Like, you got to play him both ways in college, because Colorado's defense is still shaky at best. If you take him off the field, then good luck covering anybody in the Big 12.
Clay, what'd you think about this game, and like, what do you think about Travis Hunter potentially being one side of the boat, staying both sides?
To touch base on the game, I think that the game was, I mean, pulling out the victory is important, obviously, first and foremost. But I think that it kind of showed that it seemed like the offseason was kind of full of smoke, man, about the whole, defense is going to be much better on that side of the ball. I mean, granted, it's week 1, so it's hard to make, presumptions about how somebody's season is going to be forecasted off of the first week. But I think that the defense looked kind of almost non-existent at times in terms of just ways that guys were playing and where they're supposed to be. Dogfighting it out with, now don't get me wrong, NDSU is not a bad program by any means, and they'd give some other teams fits too if they caught them, obviously, week 1. And winning that game is obviously, a good starting point for them. I think in terms of what they obviously need to improve on, I think is what everybody knows is defense. They got to get something figured out there. I don't know if it's switching up schemes or trying new guys at different spots and seeing if it fits, whatever. But they should have won that game by much more than that. Travis Hunter, man, you don't really get to play two positions at the next level, and that's ultimately the end goal for him is playing at that next level. So in order to do so, I would say his best case scenario, keep being able to do it while you can, because what that does is it gives him the ability to, when he hits that combine, they see the athleticism. Everyone already knows how gifted of an athlete he is. I think at the next level, more than likely, I think he's going to be seen as a receiver. I think that's just first and foremost, I guess, my opinion on the idea of, he's a great corner. He's a great DB. Would they move him? Would they try him at safety in the NFL? Probably not. But in terms of offensive position, at least if he's on receiver, they can move up some different packages for him. Maybe he plays defense in the NFL and they move up packages for him on offense and he gets a couple looks here and there. But I like him as a receiver in the NFL. And, I just pray that he stays healthy, because seeing guys that have the ability to play such high level on both sides of the ball is like, how many guys have we seen in our lifetime that can play at this high level? Even if it's guys on offense, a guy who can, like how Debo is in the NFL, with being able to run the ball out of the backfield and also be a receiver. Like, we don't see very much of this. So I just pray that he stays healthy, and I want him to excel at receiver at the next level.
Well, all right. So let me ask you this, right? After the season's over and it's combine time, it's pro day time, do you think he'll be asked? Because we all know he's probably, we want him at receiver first. A lot of people would, but would he even be asked to take drills at corner during the combine?
Yes. Because if a team that doesn't need a corner and is that high on a pick will go. They're going to see it from both sides. Somebody's going to be in that top 10 pick, because he's going to end up going top 10 just off of principle of he can play both sides of the ball. They're going to say, all right, whoever's on the clock when it comes, do we need to fill a corner spot? No? Great. We're taking him at receiver, and he's going to play receiver for us. Vice versa. Team that needs a receiver is going to see, we're stacked at receiver. We don't need a receiver right now. They're going to take him at DB, knowing that if that wide receiver room has off-season leaves or retirements, they can move him over there. That's the versatility. He's just not going to be able to be allowed by a NFL front office to play both sides in 4 quarters.
Yeah. Okay. No, because
he got banged up last night. Like, let's not forget this. It's game 1, and he was limping in the back end of the fourth quarter.
I just hope Prime doesn't wear him down by knowing of how valuable he is at both sides of the ball, because he's the only sure thing they have on defense. And even then, teams are just going to keep trying to exploit, knowing that, all right, well, say Travis Hunter is going to be the best matchup against our best receiver or whatever. They're just going to scheme to make sure he's non-existent on defense. They're going to run him to make sure he's tired when he gets on offense.
What's the Heisman odds? Like, what is, besides staying
he should be the favorite. He should be the favorite.
After right now, because we know, I think all of us can agree right now, there's no clear-cut how is this award typically going to go with how great is the the quarterback class this year. There's no guys that are really like, oh my God, returning guys that are like that. I mean, you have Quinn Ewers, you have Carson Beck, but other than those two guys, I mean, you make a case for what? Kansas's quarterback, you make a case for what? If Cam Rising turns around and has a stellar year. I mean, it just kind of depends. I think that he gives that it factor to where if Devontae Smith can win it at receiver, if he keeps putting up stats like this where he's throwing up 100 yards, even if he's 100 all-purpose yards on offense, and he's still having a defensive showcase that he does, he snags up 4 or 5 picks throughout the season, Heisman is his.
Kels, what you think about Travis Hunter's Heisman odds, man?
I think they're going through the roof right now. You know what I mean? You look at what he's doing at receiver at this point. Now he's becoming an elite receiver, and that's changing the page for him, because before it was more he's a DB and he plays receiver, but now it's starting to see it become evident to everybody else that he's a top receiver in college football. So, just being a factor like that and being able to go both ways, I think it definitely gives you high odds. And usually receivers or skill positions aren't guys that are in the Heisman, but with Travis Hunter's skill set, I think it's evident that he has to be in the Heisman.
Okay. Let's get to some of these questions. Might as well get to Shadur now, since Jermaine was waiting on this question to be asked. Is Shadur a top draft pick? Because people keep saying that he's not, and I think that's crazy. I don't think maybe depending on the need, maybe he'll go number one. I don't think he should go number one, but he's definitely a top 5 at this point. I mean, where do y'all see him? I see him as top 5. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's gonna be. It'll be because if no hating at all. Obviously, I think that he's a phenomenal athlete. But let's also look at it as Lamar Jackson fell how far?
True.
And what was Lamar Jackson's stats in college? Against what level of talent? In some of the biggest games of his career, what was his stat lines against? I mean, that Clemson duel, that's still in my lifetime. That's one of the best college football games I've ever watched in my whole life.
For sure.
I think that it's going to be. I mean, he'll go first round, but I'm not going to say he's top 5 personally.
I think he's a top 5 quarterback. I mean, I'm not going to say he's not. It's just I don't like the number 1 hype, because I think the best player on that team was Travis Hunter, and there's not even a debate at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I put him in the top 10 prospects. When you think about draft time, you got to talk about different quarterbacks. Shadur Sanders, Carson Beck definitely going to come up a lot. And really, Shadur, to be doing this for about 3 or 4 years, I think kind of shows his consistency at quarterback and how good he is at different levels. Because, first the question was, is it just doing that HBCU level? And now with Colorado, we see it's pretty consistent. And really with the O-lines that he's been given in his career, he's done a pretty good job. So I think he'd be like maybe a top 10 prospect. But I think at the end of the day, it'll come down to testing, right? How well does he test? And, people are going to start asking about, his running ability. That's kind of what the NFL is going right now. What is his dual threat ability like? So questions to be answered, but I think he's a top guy.
You know what? If I'm Shadur, I'm not running the 40 at the combine. I'm not running the 40.
Have you out there looking like Tom Brady?
Oh, for real.
What do you think he does? If in the event he does run at the combine, which I think that he probably more than likely won't. And you mean, what are you saying? 4.6, 4.7?
I was thinking like 4.8-ish.
Yeah.
I was saying, I thought you were going to be back with like a 5 flat. So you're
no, like I think high 4.8s, maybe 4.9, depending.
Sounds about right to me.
The thing is, like, straight line speed, like, nah, like, I don't got it, but like in game speed, when he gets going and he hits that little gear, I think like he ain't slow, but he ain't no burner.
Yeah, anybody who thinks that he's gonna go out there and tear up the 40 is insane. Bro, did y'all see the leak footage? Like, someone put it on social media the other day. They were doing like the running testing. Like, his form doesn't even look fast.
Shallow got all that speed, bro. It ain't with the Shadur. Shallow got all that speed.
Speaking of Shallow, the only good he does on the field is just cheap shots. That's all he's good for anymore.
I was saying
like
that.
The dude is just a dirty player at this point. Like, that's all he contributes to that defense. He's good for late hits and forced fumbles. That's all he does.
Bro, I wanted Shallow to, to improve in coverage just a little bit, just so he can make his case to make a roster for an NFL team. But man, he got to chill with them late hits, bro.
And even with Shiloh, it's funny too. Like, even watching his development compared to a HBCU player like Kenny Gallup too, like box safeties, just developing in completely different ways, right? Kenny Gallup wins the Aeneas Williams Award last year, and you look at Shiloh, what he's doing is just kind of been inconsistent, man. He's not the DB that we thought he could be. People talking about he shouldn't even be playing Division I football at this point. Like, I think Shiloh's going to take a little minute for him to get his face back. He lost his face.
Because he got away with a few cheap shots too. Bro, he pushed that dude straight into the bench. It was insane.
Why didn't they call that? I said the same thing in that moment, bro. That was crazy.
Yeah, and then on top of that too, I forgot what down it was. The cheap shot is the whole reason North Dakota State scored on that first drive. The late hit out of bounds. Like, just dumb plays.
I agree. So overall, looking at the schedule, after a win like this, How many games could you see Colorado winning? Just right now.
Let's pull the schedule.
I got the schedule right here. So next week they're at Nebraska. That's a 50-50 game for me because if Dylan Raiola looks good tomorrow, we're having a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. If he comes out there and he's poised and everything, I mean, another thing too is I think that crowd will definitely play a factor too because Nebraska is not no pushover home ground.
So we'll say pick 'em game like 50-50. We'll just see where we are at the end.
50-50
at Colorado State. I'm giving them a win there. Colorado State lost all their good players this offseason.
That tight end and 14. No, 14 is back, right? But that tight end's gone.
I thought the wide receiver that had the breakout one went to the draft. Their second best wide receiver is back.
Right. That's the guy from
I'm gonna say the game's gonna be chippy. It's definitely gonna be chippy. I think it's gonna be chippy, and it's gonna come down to who's gonna make the first mistake.
I thought that wide receiver came back. No.
Hang on. I got you.
Because the quarterback is back, right?
Yeah, the quarterback's back. Which wide receiver are you thinking of? Do you remember his name?
14. Like he was their best receiver that night.
Oh, Torrey? Yeah, Torrey actually is back. Okay.
Give me Colorado State.
That's crazy.
I'm giving Colorado that one. I think they win that one. Then they got Baylor at home.
That's an L.
I'm giving them that one too. Bro, Baylor's terrible.
I'm kind of at the point with Colorado now where I'm not willing to bet on them anymore. Like, even from last year, they go up 31-0 against Stanford and lose the game in Boulder. Like, I'm almost to the point where I'm like, Colorado is a non-bettable team. Maybe you could bet Travis or bet Shadur, but the team.
These next three are brutal. At UCF with Gus Malzahn.
Oh, that run again.
That's an L.
Dude, they ran for 500 yards last night against New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's an L.
And then they got Kansas State. That's an L for sure.
Easily.
At Arizona with McMillan and that Pac-12 freshman of the year at quarterback.
Noah Fafita, they're down.
So that's probably a loss. They'll probably beat Cincinnati at home. Cincinnati's been terrible since Fickle. Is it Fickle left?
Yeah, Luke Fickle.
Right.
Then at Texas Tech, that one might be 97-98.
Shout out to Bowman out there at quarterback. He's nice.
Yeah. But I don't know. And then the last three are Utah, which is a loss. At Kansas, if Jalen Daniels is healthy, that's a loss. And then Oklahoma State with Ollie Gordon for the last week of the season.
Yeah, that Kansas game.
I think they lose. I think best case is 7-5, and that's if they upset somebody. I could see. I think 6-6 is probably where I have them. I think they squeak into a bowl game, just because Travis is going to win them at least one more game. Shadur is probably going to win them a game, and then they'll beat one or two bad teams on this schedule.
Okay, all right. No, I agree with that. I can see them sneaking into a bowl game.
The college football playoff talk was just insane this offseason. I don't know anybody who has watched football would assume would not pick them to go to the college football playoff.
Cough, RJ Young, cough.
What I'm thinking of is some of the games that I'm thinking of in my head with some of these guys who elite quarterback. I would not say like the term. For college football, like the better quarterbacks that are on that schedule. Do you see how much time some of those plays for last night was? Of how much time he had to be able to go through reads and everything? I just want to happen whenever when they're playing Kansas.
I don't think people understand this. Cam Miller's good, and he's been at he's a national champion at this level. He is maybe not a top 3 quarterback at the FCS level.
Cool.
And he went 18 for 22, 277, 3 total touchdowns, and rushed for 81 yards.
Yeah,
and North Dakota State was missing their best player on defense and an All-American safety. and they lost one of their best offensive players because he had to retire from football because of his fall camp injury.
Dang.
I think you run that game back, they lose.
I think I think North Dakota State's fully healthy, they lose.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you, Clay. There's a lot of 50-50 plays in that game. You know what I mean? You talk about the jump balls, you talk about the penalties that are called or weren't called. Like, a lot of things went either or.
Do y'all believe Shadur when he bailed out Prom on that last drive? Where he said that he checked to the pass on 1st and 10 where they could have just run the clock out. Do y'all really believe that?
No.
No.
That's just him saying.
I think he called a pass and Shadur was like, "Dog, I got to take this. I'll take one for the team here and say that I got to learn my lesson on not to audible into a pass."
Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
When can you imagine if they would have lost because he threw the ball on 1st down? Because if they run the ball there, even if they lose yards, North Dakota State gets the ball back with like 30 less seconds.
Yeah.
No, I ain't even gonna say it. I don't want people on my head. I don't want people on my head.
Did you guys catch the sideline interaction between Travis and Shadur that ESPN put out?
Mm-hmm.
I think that it wasn't like people were saying like it was like, oh, like why is he saying it like that? I think it was more of a like he believed him kind of thing. Like you don't matter, you can still catch it regardless of how rough the play was or anything. Like catch it next time. I don't think he was saying it negatively.
That's a bro moment, man. I think people,
yeah.
We're trying to make something out of that. They just thirsty for something.
Yeah.
All right. Rank these quarterbacks, right? I saw it. I saw one and I was like, I don't really like that one. So we're gonna do this. Rank these quarterbacks. I'm interested because I see a lot of people playing back number 1.
Are we talking NFL potential or are we talking about like who we'd want on our team right now in college?
Like who you'd want on your team right now.
Okay.
On our team right now.
Right, like right now.
Oh yeah, because if we're building for the future, I'm taking Noah since he's a true sophomore.
Right.
All these other 3 are graduating. I'll take number 11, who's back for the next 3 years potentially.
Man, I really want to say Quinn Ewers at 1.
You want to put Quinn at 1?
I really do. But he's had a lot of talent around him.
He's also in the most injury prone out of the 4.
That's what I'm thinking
which
too.
Concerns me.
I'm gonna go Carson 1, Quinn 2, Shadur 3, and then Noah last.
On my team, give me Shadur first because the aura is just too crazy, bro. So he got to be my quarterback. I also like Quinn Ewers a lot. I like him a lot. I want to put him at 2, but like I said, the kind of injury history. I like Carson Beck. I'm not going to lie. I like his quick release. He has nice touch, and the way he's able to run a top team is what I'm really most impressed about. I throw him at 2. Give me Quinn at 3, and then young Noah. I throw Noah at 4, but I think Noah might have, some of the most potential of any quarterback in the land when you talk about a guy that's been playing in big-time games for the past 2 years.
Yeah. I'll take a Shadur at 1. Ewers at 2, Beck at 3, Noah at 4.
So give me Shadur at 1. I'm really not with Quinn, so I'll take Beck at 2. Then I'll take Quinn at 3, and then I'll take Noah at 4. Now, let me see. What was the next one? Okay, wait, that's for later. So I got to talk about something going back to camp, right? Because this was just absolutely crazy to me. So Biff Poggi, head coach of the 49ers, the Charlotte 49ers, this man came out and said that 50% of his starters are hurt for week 1 due to fall camp injuries. My mouth literally like dropped. My jaw dropped because how? What are you doing in practice? Because like after like maybe the 4th, 5th injury, I'm like, hey, okay, we might need to dial this back, right? Because we got a game coming up. What are you doing? Like, what's your reaction to this? Like, if you're an AD and the coach you hired and said, hey man, 50% of our starters, they ain't gonna make it week 1, they hurt. Like, what was your reaction to that, man?
Short and sweet. It's one of 2 things. Either this guy has the worst luck in the history of luck like get struck by lightning twice in his lifetime, like that bad of luck, or he is mismanaging practice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really even know how this happens. Just bad luck, mismanagement, and also too is just I don't know. I need to see the practice schedule though. I just need to know, like, were they just lining up running Oklahoma drill for 4 hours? Just where we're gonna find out who's tough today.
What's his training staff look like? Like, what is his
Right.
like? What does the medical side of this look like? Like, are these boys going out here and saying, like, bro, I don't like, I'm not good, and they're like, nah, man, you're fine. Like, just take a day off and then come back. Like, is he like pushing? Is it coming down to the staff pushing people beyond what they're saying that they want to do, and or is it this guy just got bad luck? Because somehow or some way, it's got to go back to the staff. Ain't no way. There's no
He said
way.
he gave himself an F- on fall camp evaluation.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They had to be full contact for 13 days straight. I mean, we talk about like injuries. It's usually a lot of injuries during fall camp, sure, but usually a lot of starters get healthy before the game. Like before game time, everybody's magically healed. But when you look at this, were these season-ending injuries in fall camp? Is that what we're talking about? So
No.
the guys just banged up. It really feels like a gross mismanagement of practice time. Like you're saying, Clay, when you talk about like a training staff, they're the ones going through this stuff. Let's go ahead and have the head doctor come on here and hop on this interview. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's figure out what's really going on.
Are we not taping ankles properly? Are we not making sure guys are hydrated? Are we putting some guys through certain drills when they're not 100%? Like something is going on there that they really got to figure out.
Well, it's like what was it, Texas that lost like 3 running backs in the span of like 4 or 5 days. I would have just took my running backs out of practice. We ain't running the football. Quinn suited up. I put Arch at running back. We got to do something here because this ain't happening.
Jet sweeps and crossing routes all game.
Hello.
One guy's going to the flat. Everyone else crossing routes. Somebody out. Jet sweep motion play every single time. Play action every single time.
Bro, as an Oregon fan, bro, even we had a problem with those injuries in fall camp, especially during the Helfrich era. But like even Dan Lanning, as far as physical as his practice is, he knows to dial back at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what Biff is doing around here. Like there's a balance between like preaching that mental toughness and these are the dog days that you got to get through with the heat and everything else, and taking it too far. And I think he really overstepped that line.
Yeah, it's not even that hot in Charlotte, so you really shouldn't be struggling because, bro. So last week I spent like 4 days in Lorman with Alcorn practicing.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. If Said came out and said, "Bro, we got 50% missing," I'm like, "Yeah, they melted out there, dude," because it was so damn hot in Lorman, Mississippi this past week. But, bro, in Charlotte, what are we doing?
One thing that I would think is crazy is like, if he's pushing practice that hard, like there's other coaches out there that practice very hard. Like, I think we've all seen the video takeaways of players talking about, like, Nick Saban, like, a half hour before practice was done because of people's shirts being untucked, was like, restart the practice. Restart it. From the top, we're running through the whole thing right now because guys didn't have undershirts tucked in. That's pushing guys hard. Charlotte is not pushing guys that hard. And if they are, it doesn't show on the football field.
You better win more than 3 games next year because they went 3-9 last year.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get Kobe. We're gonna have to get Cam Bent on the pod and tell us what's going on with the practices out there.
Ask Cam. There's a reason why he left and went to that's Dr. Campbell. So I'll definitely get Cam on here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask him what's going on in practice out there.
All right, let's get
Clay. Better pick this game right.
Oh, come on, man.
Miami at Florida. Clay, we're gonna let you take this one first.
There we go.
Guys, listen. If I ever am cheering against my team, it's because I'm being logical. But at the same time, I'm always going to give you somewhat of a homebody pick. But let's really talk about this for a second. These guys are taking a first-year quarterback in a system with banged-up injuries. They're using a backup center to start the game. And they're playing in front of 93,000 that knows they have a very hard schedule and are trying to find wins. Y'all know
you
who I'm
got?
going with. You know who I'm going with. You know who I'm going with. 93,000. Listen, the last time Miami stepped into the swamp, what happened? Last time we started a season off against Miami, what happened? When
Do
they
they have Cam
were a
Ward?
much better football team. I'm taking us. I'm always gonna take us in games that I know that a rivalry that goes like this, where we don't get to play them every single year. I'm taking this game, especially because we're at home.
Okay. All
We're
right.
at home. Book it.
Look,
I called that Georgia Tech game.
You did. You did. Hey,
I called
you
the Georgia
did.
Tech
credit.
game. I know. FSU is bad, bro. DJ is bad.
We all, me and you weren't on. I don't think you were on the show at that point. Me and Kobe are giving y'all that game now. So add a win to whatever we had y'all at.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
Miami, Cam Ward.
Ruben Bain.
Yeah, this just feels like a statement game for Cam Ward. I mean, you're playing in front of 90,000, of course, but those guys aren't going to help the people on the field. You look at a Miami team that's loaded and really that's primed to actually win at this point. This defensive front actually looks good for Miami. Things seem to be trending up for them. Against Florida, this seems like easy pickings. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I'm going with
hope you're
Cam
wrong.
Ward. The Cam Ward Hurricanes are going to get the win. The only thing I'm worried about, if it's close in the last 5 minutes, Mario Cristobal is gonna find a way to F it up. And that's the one thing I'm worried about is he's gonna forget to take a knee, forget that he has 2 timeouts, let the clock run out if he's behind, do something insane. But I think Miami will have a comfortable lead by the time we get there.
I was just gonna say that the way he lost that game last year is just all in my head. And for that, I was just gonna pick Florida up for that. I just don't believe in Cristobal, bro. I'm sorry.
I was surprised to see the spread. I'd be very curious to see what the spread would be if this game wasn't in the swamp, because 2.5 seems crazy.
I love it.
2.5 points.
Wow.
I love it. Listen, for all my bettors out there that are listening to the podcast, take 2.5. Don't say I was wrong.
All right. Now let's talk about USC versus LSU, 23 versus 13.
Give me LSU with or without the spread.
Really?
With or without the spread. You think that Colorado don't play defense? Have you seen what USC puts on the field?
Yeah. USC don't got it.
Yeah, it's gonna be ugly in a dome too. Nussmeier is gonna just throw this thing around the yard, and USC is not gonna have any. And they don't have Caleb Williams to save them this time. Yeah, it's gonna get ugly.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not excited to see this game. I do think it end up like a shootout. I think USC, as much as they have lost, I think the program itself is growing. I think they've grown past the point of just paper mache defense. And now, it's probably it's a soft version of defense. You know what I mean? It's kind of like girls powder puff football defense now. You know what I mean? They're on the field, but they're not really stopping nothing. But they're in the way though. You know what I mean? So USC probably a shootout, but I got LSU for sure.
Okay.
The spread's low on this one too. Only 4-point favorites are LSU.
Really? They already dropped. I think
4 points.
Last week they had it at a touchdown.
Yeah. So apparently a lot of money.
Moving towards USC.
I do think Zach Branch has a good game. As for the rest of that team, though.
Hey, if they have a shot, man, Miller Moss better put on a performance on what was it? This one's on Sunday, right?
Yes, Sunday night. I think it's
Sunday night in Vegas. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's go Notre Dame LSU.
Damn, LSU got a doubleheader this weekend? I was like, man, I changed my pick on the USC game, and that was on Sunday. I was going to be real tired getting to Vegas after this one.
Nah, Notre Dame, Texas A&M. I don't know why I picked that. My bad. Who y'all got?
This one's tough. I ain't going to lie.
A&M's got, I think right now, unless the lines changed last time that I look at it, it was 1.5 or 2.5.
No, A&M's a 3-point favorite now.
Oof.
Over the number 7 team in the country.
Oof. That line even changed from today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Notre Dame. I like the experience. I like the experience on defense, and I'm also going to do it just because one of their starting linebackers is from Hilton Head.
Oh shit! Okay.
Jalen Sneed. Jalen Sneed from Hilton Head.
Okay, I remember that. I remember that kid. I'm gonna take Notre Dame simply because this is the same squad that lost to App State early in the season last year. I'm not. I will never pick Texas A&M again. Like, understand that. I don't
But
care
you don't
what-
have Jimbo now. The Jimbo effect is gone.
There's still a lot of work that's got to be done to get them back to being as competitive as they were pre-Jimbo.
That's fair. I do think Mike Elko can coach though. If you can win at Duke,
Yeah.
you
No,
can
I'm
win
not hating at all. I
anywhere.
think it was a good hire for them, honestly.
I'm going to go Notre Dame close. I do think this game's going to come down to the wire though. I trust Riley Leonard though in the big moment to deliver a win here. So I'm going to go Notre Dame, but I think it's going to be probably a 7 3-point game somewhere in there.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, this game's a wobbler for me. Talk about two teams that won't be in the college football playoff. Like, it's two teams that you really don't think about in a matchup. We got two interesting coaches. I do like Coach Freeman at Notre Dame. I like what he's been building. He bring in Riley, which is pretty dope. With Texas A&M, they're just so talented. You wonder why they aren't good. You know, you even look at the players at depth chart. You go through it and you go, well, they have the guys to do this. Why isn't it happening? I think Notre Dame is already a team that's figured it out. They figured out how to win. They played some tough games the past couple of years. I think it's prepared them for this game, So give me Notre Dame in this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
you guys remember that recruiting class they had where they edged out Georgia for what was it, like 8 5-stars and then like 20-something 4-stars because Jimbo is just out here just closing these kids, just closing them. And then like half of them
letting them smoke weed in the locker
like
room.
a year.
Gave everybody cars, let them smoke weed in the locker room. All hell broke loose, and here we
Oh,
are.
yeah, fights at practice.
all right. Now, from what people were saying, this is the game of the week. Clemson and neutral site, right? Vegas.
Man, it's a home game.
No,
Stop.
Atlanta.
It's a home game. Stop it.
Yeah,
it's a home
it's
game.
definitely a home game.
Mercedes-Benz primetime game of the week.
I'm starting a petition right now. This because that's not a neutral site game for Georgia, and I'm tired of this.
Listen, I've been there. I went to the Auburn, Georgia SEC championship game. It was like 80-20.
Like, bro, no, why can't Kirby play an actual neutral site game? Like, what's wrong with you? As an Oregon fan, I'm tired of this, bro.
Bro, to make y'all come to make Oregon come to Atlanta and call that a neutral site was insane. That was so disrespectful for y'all.
My God, bro. No, bro. I'm starting a petition. They can't keep getting away with this. But, like,
I think we all can make this one pretty short and sweet. I think the spread moved at one point from 11.5. I think it might be 14 now, if I'm not wrong.
It's back at 11.5.
Okay. I want to say maybe it was a different site that I was looking at because I have this one website that I use that'll show every single one of the like MGM, DraftKings, Caesars, everything. It'll show like the total spread of like what all these other spreads are for like betting availabilities. 14 is generous, honestly, because Georgia's going to be out there. Like, them boys are going to be on one in terms of it's a home game, and two, they're probably very bitter about how last season went, knowing that they dropped a basketball score on FSU and then lost one game in the past 2 years. I'd say Kirby's going to try to make it a statement and try to run it up.
Yeah, give me Georgia.
Yep. By more than the spread.
Yeah, I'll take Georgia by like maybe 21 points, something like that. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Dabo and like how people were trying to bury Dabo or whatever. Well, if you want to put a nail in the coffin, it might be a game like this, a game where Dabo actually gets whooped on, right? We haven't seen Clemson lose by a large margin in quite some time. And, going to play a home game against a UGA team that's hungry, has a new quarterback, and is really ready to feast on anything they see. It's not a good matchup for Clemson, man. I think Clemson's walking into a trap.
Yeah. When's the last time Georgia looked bad in a season opening game? Because I know they beat Oregon to death. They beat Clemson. What was that one in North Carolina? Was that the Charlotte game? They opened the season against Clemson a few years back.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think the last time that they didn't win a season opener. It's been a long. It maybe been before Kirby.
Yeah, probably more than 6 years.
Oh,
No.
2013. They lost to Clemson in 2013.
Oh, that was that a Todd Gurley's sophomore year? Todd Gurley's
Yeah.
freshman year?
That was Taj Boyd's
That-
last year at Clemson.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
Aaron Murray and Sammy Watkins were also in that game. That's how long ago it was.
Wow.
That's crazy.
All right, y'all. So now the time has come for overreaction, not overreaction. I don't think these are too wild, but you just never know. Overreaction, not overreaction. Colorado is in deep trouble this year. I don't think this one is overreaction at all.
I mean,
Not an overreaction.
define deep trouble, because I think they're exactly where I expected them to be. So I think it's an overreaction, because I think anyone who had realistic expectations for them expected to be right where we are.
Like I think the person said like they don't even think Colorado is a lock for 4 wins.
That's overreaction. I think they can get. Like I said, I think they get to 6.
Deep trouble? Are we talking about Olympic-sized swimming pool or kiddie pool?
Olympics.
Define deep for me.
Like no, like I'm saying, the person said they don't think Colorado is a lock for 4 wins.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. There's definitely a chance they can only win 4 games. There is a chance there.
Okay.
I've got a Colorado at like around 5 wins, maybe fighting to get to that 6th win. I think the deep trouble to me, I don't know what that guy was talking about. The deep trouble to me is next year when you lose your stars. And now Coach Prime is supposed to rebuild this program. I don't know if Coach Prime's still going to be there. That's the deep trouble I'm thinking of. Okay, if Colorado ends up with this, they have nobody. You lose your players, lose your coach, you lose your aura. That's deep trouble to me.
Go back to being Colorado.
Yeah, he's out of there.
Okay. Overreaction, not an overreaction. Travis Hunter wins the Heisman if he stays healthy.
Not overreaction.
He put up the stats he did last night all season. It's going to be hard to make a case to not win it.
I'm going to say not an overreaction, but after seeing week 1, we're going to see some quarterback performances. Folks going to be throwing for 500, 600 yards. All right, so maybe after week 1, I'll be more confident in it, but it feels like not overreaction right now.
Okay. Overreaction. No former Pac-12 team will finish higher than 3rd in their new conference.
Oof.
Oh no, that's an overreaction, bro. Did we forget Oregon exists?
Right.
I because if I said it, I was gonna be a homer. I would just let y'all go.
Yeah,
No, not
that's
at all.
crazy.
No, not at all. I was trying to think of other realignments that I could say, be like, oh, I mean, they might make certain shake as the second best team that realigned after Oregon, but
yeah, Oregon and Arizona stand out for that.
Oh yeah, and Utah.
Oh yeah,
it was the preseason favorite in the Big 12.
Right.
All right, so I think this is the last one. No, there will be no undefeated teams by season's end. Like
Not
before
overreaction.
the playoffs.
Oh, before the playoffs. Okay. That changes, because I was about to say I don't know if we get an undefeated champion this year, because the 12-team playoff is going to be chaos.
Mm.
I think it's not.
If it's going to be anybody, I mean, I hate to say it, if it's going to be anybody based off of top to bottom roster, no major injuries, out of every team in college football, it's going to be Georgia.
No. Have you seen their schedule?
That's
no chance they go undefeated. There's none.
Georgia?
Listen, I'm saying that if there's a chance of somebody going undefeated, it's Georgia. The man's lost 1 game in the last 2 years, and there's not a coach in college that's beat him. Not trying to dick ride. It's literally one of my rivals. I'm gonna go with the guy that literally consistently has just dominated.
Because I was thinking maybe Ohio State, because they really, outside of Oregon and that Michigan game, there's really not one that scares me on there. And Michigan, I don't think is going to be as good as they have been.
No.
So if they get past Oregon, I don't know who beats Ohio State if we're just talking regular season.
Which will not happen because they're at Autzen, but
oh yeah, then that's a tough game to see.
Like one of my guys I work with, he's from Ohio State. Well, he's from the state of Ohio, not Ohio State. He's a diehard Ohio State fan. He said it because he's already at the time period now where he's like boiling on the seat with like next to him. He's like, Ryan Day. It's gonna happen one time during the season. And I just hope it's not against the 2 biggest games we play every single year with Penn State and Michigan. But at some point, Ryan Day is going to Ryan Day. So That's why I didn't say them, because their roster is obviously loaded. And Jeremiah Smith being announced as a starter is, I don't think, should have been a shock to anybody. The kid's a freak.
I was thinking
It's
Oregon, maybe?
Oregon, I mean, yeah.
The only thing that worries me about Oregon is that, listen, and no offense, Kobe, you can't even argue this. Every time Oregon has a chance to go undefeated, they go 11-1 because they lose some insane game to like Arizona Polytechnical Institute in like week 8.
Yeah.
Every time, bro.
They're like Duke in March Madness copping an L to like Lehigh.
And it was always a Arizona or Arizona State.
It was always the Thursday night game. It was one of those stupid
God.
Pac-12 Thursday night games, and y'all get beat, and I'd be pissed.
They run into somebody who's just an absolute, like, coming into it, they're probably like, yeah, we're going to upset them.
Because, like, I'm looking at their schedule. They got Idaho, Boise State, at Oregon State, UCLA, Michigan State. They get Ohio State at home, at Purdue, Illinois, at Michigan, Maryland, at Wisconsin, Washington. I'm looking at this. They're for sure going to lose to Purdue on Friday night.
I'm about to say Purdue. Yeah.
Purdue is going to beat the shit out of them on Friday night. That's a Friday night game at Purdue. It's a wrap.
Listen, what do y'all think of that game? Depending on how
that game,
depending on how the offense clicks, what do you think the prediction's going to be for Ohio State, Oregon?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Purdue, Oregon. I was like, bro, I'm not looking that far ahead for that upset.
No, but I'm saying, like, depending on how obviously the season ends up going and injuries and stuff, how do you think that game ends up going?
I need to see both quarterbacks in those new systems.
True.
But I will say, just like off the face of it, I trust Ohio State to weapons more, but I definitely trust Dylan Gabriel more than I do Will Howard.
I mean, yeah, he's 35 years old with a family of 4. He's played college football for 11 seasons.
Oregon's just putting money into like his 401k right now instead of NIL. He's just saving up for the kids, retirement fund.
Oh yeah, 5 years he's claiming Social Security tax free.
No confidence in Evan Stewart and Tez Johnson as a duo.
Bro, did you see like the Avengers that they put together out there in Columbus at the skill positions?
That's ridiculous.
That freshman receiver is ungodly, bro. I don't know that kid's name. He's ungodly.
Jeremiah Smith?
Yeah.
Jeremiah Smith got one. I guess it's something. Whatever. When they put the black logo on the back of the helmet, like where the Buckeyes start counting, they put it for upperclassmen. The dude earned one in the 3rd day of practice.
Seriously,
that's outrageous.
Yeah, the 3rd day of practice. If you watch,
and they still have Jackson's. Or no, they don't have Jack Smith. Who's the other wide receiver they got coming back? Yeah, they got him coming back.
Still there. Yeah,
they got 2 of the probably top 5 running backs in college football.
Literally.
And they got
O-line has some talent on it still.
They got 2 5-stars on the bench at quarterback, and a hot 4-star in Aaron Nolan, who was lighting it up in Georgia.
And then go through defense. They have
both their D ends are coming back. Their starting D tackles coming back.
And you
I want to say,
Caleb Downs.
Who?
Caleb
Downs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Over the top. Yeah.
And they've still returned the boundary corner that started last year, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah. They're deep. They got a bunch of upperclassmen on that defense, too.
It's a scary squad. That's the game of the year potential for sure, especially like later in the season like that. We usually see like these type of matchups, like week 1, 2, 3 type in Vegas, but we're seeing this is a conference matchup at like game 6. Super dope.
Bro, that whole weekend of college football is probably the best in the season.
Oh, yeah, because don't you have Texas, Oklahoma same week?
Is that the one that social media was trying to argue about, like going to weddings and stuff like that? It got real weird on social media.
I think it's the October 12th weekend. Look, if you look up the schedule for October 12th.
Florida, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
LSU.
Oh, yeah.
Bro.
Oh, so I found Ohio State's game notes. On defense, JT and Jack Sawyer are back at defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
Talik Williams is back at D tackle. Ty Hamilton's back at D tackle. Denzel Burt comes back at corner. Lanthan Ransom comes back at safety. The Davison kid comes back at corner, and they still got Sonny Styles coming back. at safety, who was a 5-star.
Yeah.
And you add Caleb Downs to that.
Yeah. Them boys have a chance to be some straight ball hawks.
And they return 4 starters on the offensive line.
And you have Quinshon Junkins and Travion Henderson, as well as what we always know is a loaded wide receiver room.
It's looking a little scary, right?
Or if Ryan Day doesn't, I'm really being serious when I say this. If he doesn't win the Big Ten this year, fire him.
Oh yeah, there's no excuse. With how talented that roster is, Harbaugh's gone, and obviously you should beat as Ohio State. You should beat Penn State.
Is it at Penn State?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it not Penn State?
Or no, it'd be at Ohio State.
I think it's Ohio State home this year because they caught him in a whiteout last year.
No, it's at Penn State this year. I'm looking at their schedule right now.
It might get a little dicey.
With that roster, you got to go undefeated, though. I mean, like, just be real.
You have to.
You could bring in somebody else to do what Ryan Day does. They lose 2 or 3 games. You can bring somebody else to do that. You know, with that roster, that's national championship, run the table type of roster.
I'll tell you this, man. College football would be a little bit different right now if that Ohio State Georgia game didn't go the same way that it did.
I'm not a Texas football fan. I had a dream that Texas was celebrating and winning the national championship. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I had a dream that I was married to Tim's, and then I woke up.
I was just about to say, bro, I had a dream the other day that I hit for $5 million on black at the roulette table, and I woke up because I was thirsty.
I don't see Texas doing it, my boy.
I don't know how many.
Their schedule's not a pushover schedule either.
It's facts. Like, I don't know how many teams that go to a new conference make the national championship. That's really one thing I'm really trying to understand, because just changing the different opponents you play throughout a season can change your hopes of going to the national championship. And like, we haven't seen Texas in the SEC before, so I got to see that.
Oklahoma and Bama on top of the rest of the schedule too, because Texas, I believe, plays Ole Miss. And I believe they also play LSU.
Nebraska or Northwestern? I hope Nebraska. For your sake, bro.
Oh yeah, I hope Nebraska as well. Yeah, I want to see Raiola ball. I'm glad that he kind of did his little last minute decision to say I'm gonna go over there instead of keep going on the track he was going to. Because I know he was flirting with Georgia and Ohio State heavy.
All right. So that was all that I had. Any other thing y'all want to talk about before we get up out of here?
Nope.
Everybody good,
man.
Hey, thank y'all for tuning in to episode 2, season 2 of FBS Fridays. Of course, we're gonna have a good slate of games this weekend. We're gonna watch it right back here for the next week, all over again, man. So, anything y'all got coming up before we leave?
Take the spread, Florida, Miami. We're going first episode. Call the Georgia Tech game. Second episode, I'm calling it. It's gonna be my weekly pick'em. Take the spread.
Cam Ward.
Take the spread. Go Gators.
Love it. All right, man. So listen, make sure y'all check out. Go subscribe to the Blue Bloods podcast. Go subscribe to the Lace Up podcast, Kelly Flicks, and of course, man, subscribe to the Blitz City podcast from me and my guy Clay Carter. We'll be back with y'all next week, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We out.
Yes, sir.